On Production is brought to you by Wrapbook, the production industry's only on-demand payroll platform. With Wrapbook, you can pay your crew with a click and track all your costs in real time, all in one place. To find out more about how Wrapbook is transforming the way productions pay their crews, visit wrapbook.com. Welcome to On Production, the podcast about navigating the ins and outs of today's production industry. Our guests this week are the dynamic Los Angeles-based writer-director duo, Sophia Sabella and Pablo Feldman. Known for their captivating storytelling, they've directed the compelling film Edge of Everything, and that it's their debut feature film as well, Sour Milk. Join us as we dive into their cinematic journey, exploring the passion and production intricacies behind their work. Both of you, thanks for being here and welcome to On Production.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much for having us. Super happy to be here. Funny story right off the bat is that Sour Milk actually was an old title of Edge of Everything. So,
Okay, no kidding. Got it.
No, it makes sense. I mean, that this film has gone through multiple titles. It's come from like Posers to Sour Milk, now to Edge of Everything.
yeah, now it's found its place at Edge of Everything.
I mean, I think that's kind of like a perfect articulation of like, I mess up the intro, but here's the thing. Like, your creative journey has been this process of kind of iterative creation and like really refining the story into something that you're so proud of, the audiences are really resonating with. That's awesome. I'm really curious, like with that point of becoming filmmakers, what drew both of you to filmmaking? How did you start working together?
Funny enough, we actually went to high school together.
Yeah, we went to the same drama program, and our theater teacher's actually in this film.
Yeah, our theater teacher's literally in the
From high
film.
school. But yeah, we were friends in high school, and then we reconnected in college, and we were just together. We were just dating actually at first for like a year and a half, and Pablo was at Emerson for acting, and I feel like that was like more what you were doing at the time.
I was like, I'm gonna be an actor. This is what I'm doing with my life, and moved out to New York where Sophia was finishing up at NYU, and we started writing and making shorts, just kind of out of the desperation to find something to act in, as it's such a hard to get casted and get work out there, and then fell in love with it. Fell in love with writing, directing.
Yeah, and kind of moved entirely to behind the camera side of things, and
it's led to we moved out to LA, and then we're doing other shorts out here, and then the pandemic hit, and midway through we were like, we have to make a feature. We're losing our minds.
It is so inspiring that you guys found this do-it-yourself way and brought a film totally to bear. That is super, super awesome. Drilling into some of the like kind of production questions I have is, I'm curious, like what were some of the key technical challenges you faced during the filming of Edge of Everything?
I mean, so many, obviously we worked on such a low budget. So
everything was like about being super scrappy. Like we got all locations for free, which was really nice. We actually shot in my parents' home.
at our high school, like we said, where we both went to high school, like we said, our drama teacher high schools.
Yeah, and the film takes place, just for reference, it takes place in where we both grew up in Marin County. So that's why we were able to have so many locations for free. We kind of used what we had, and it really helps the budget.
Yeah. I mean, and hats off to our other two producers who were amazing at using budget. But there were other things such as, shooting through the night. Our camera did
it just
shut down
failed
one day. Like these production things that you would never think would happen. And luckily it was a Friday, but we lost a full day of shooting. Had to
like figure out how to make it up, and basically like just how many pages. Like some days one day we shot like 10 pages, which was crazy, and just like trying to figure out how to make that work without like losing the kind of quality.
Yeah, the madness of indie film.
Yeah.
I'm really curious. I want to dig into something really quick. I imagine directing as a duo can have some incredible rewards, but some challenges as well. How do you two navigate creative differences, and how do you collaborate effectively?
We're so prep-based but I also think the only way that we work together as a duo is because we have the same vision and we're on the same page to begin with, which is something that almost can't even be discussed. Like going back to the origin, It's like we're connected on the same taste, and that
kind of learned together. Like we've kind of gone through our process together, which makes it so easy to kind of keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could write and direct with anyone else.
No, not a shot.
We get that question a lot. They're like, how do you do it? Do you like just sit down next to each other and just write on this computer? And yeah, it is kind of.
But physically, when we're on set, it's a very collaborative. It's not one person working with actors, the other person working with camera. Where one person will end up going to either or, but it's a discussion.
And then we're beforehand, and we had so much prep that we trust each other just to talk to an actor, and we'll be like, we said this, and we're like, great. So we won't repeat it, but it's just like we trust each other just to make the right decisions.
Yeah. And then, of course, obviously, and not to lead one more thing, but obviously sometimes as it goes in a high stressful situation, you do like maybe disagree, and you're like, and it's always this thing. We were talking actually at Santa Barbara with a different directing duo, and they were like, you never fight in front of the kids, and you're like, let's take a walk. Let's take a walk.
And and also just it's like so nice because we are so close. We've been working together so long. It's like if someone says something and you don't agree, you're just like, I don't agree.
Yeah, it gets through all the BS ahead of time.
Yeah,
you could just shoot it straight.
You like don't have to be that nice about it.
That's fantastic. Do you notice that both of you will work truly collaboratively on every part of the process, or do either of you gravitate to kind of different elements of the directing process? Like, is one of you like really focused on actors versus like visual mood and tone, working with the DP, like, or is that really something done fully in collaboration?
It's fully done in collaboration, but I think there's times when somebody will, of course, there's times because there's so many things going on a set. And that's where I love the director duo, especially, is that there's times when one person will end up going in another direction and the other will go another direction, especially in prep, I think, just because there's so much happening. And luckily there's two of us to be able to tackle all of it. Like Sophia is amazing on the production design and costume side of things, like has an amazing eye for it. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, just, I trust whatever you're going to do. Like,
it's like, it's so talked about before that it's easy for me to just go and kind of go with it. And then just kind of, we talk about it afterwards, whatever kind of thing I came up with the production designer or with the costume designer. But at the same time, I feel like it's interesting. I feel like, yes, maybe was true like earlier, but then I feel like you're getting more into production design.
No, I love it. It's just the matter of so much to do. And we also, we're on the producing team, so we were dealing with all sides.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of roles.
I was going to ask you about that. Like obviously our show is called On Production. My whole career has been on the production side and the payroll side, the operational side of complex storytelling. So I was going to ask you, like, tell me about your producers. Celebrate your producers. Tell me about like what drew you to your production teams and how did you kind of organize that team and make this thing happen?
Yeah, and all of this is like credit to them. I mean, we could not have gotten through the thick of the woods literally without them. They're amazing. Jolene Mendez, Rabia Sultana, like great producers who actually we cold emailed initially. We were looking for partners in this film, and this was like way back, and we emailed them. We loved, we had seen that one of Jolene's films, She Paradise, went to Tribeca, and it was really inspiring. And we were like, it feels like, especially for this coming of age intimate story, would be perfect. And we reached out, they got back, and we kind of clicked. Went from there, and they did an amazing job on set. And we also were so lucky to work with the rest of our crew. I mean, everybody from our DP Scott Ray to production designers to our editor, and we're really lucky.
We're really lucky
to have such a supportive crew on our first feature.
And it obviously, like, the pay is not very high. It's just if you really like the project and you're willing to come out, and that was really amazing to see how many people were willing to do that.
That's too cool. I'm so happy to hear that the team came together and made something special. Pivoting a little bit, can you walk me through your approach to casting, especially for such complex characters as Abby and Caroline?
I think casting is the most, like, it takes care of a lot of work beforehand, because it's so important. I forget who said it, but I heard somebody say it's 70% of a director's job is casting, because that really defines where the characters are going, where you can make adjustments on set and workshop, but a certain part of the person just is going to be that character.
Yeah.
This person is who's casted. And it's another thing. We're so grateful to work with an amazing cast. I mean, we got
our friend, one of our friends introduced us to Sierra, and we thought that she was great.
Perfect to me.
Perfect. Yeah. She just fit the role perfectly. And then he also introduced us to Emily Robinson, and then Emily introduced us to Ryan. And it was kind of this like chain of, we were like going through a lot of people and then kind of coming upon these people that just knew people through other people. And we were really lucky with that.
And then the rest of the roles just being super specific. We did a casting call for a lot of these roles, and I think that's one of our favorite parts of the process.
Yeah,
is casting,
and casted locally for a lot of the smaller roles, and then we brought out the main cast. And then how we got Jason Butler-Harner, who played David. We just DM'd him on Instagram.
We loved his work, and we were like, we gotta get to him somehow. I'm sure his agents are gonna shut us down.
Yeah, but he responded. It worked.
Yeah.
That is so scrappy. I love it.
Yeah, and we still do. We do stuff like that now. We're DMing.
Yeah, we're like, how can we get
maybe get to somebody directly and that spark their interest.
But I think it's always so hard when you don't have finance in place and you're trying to have conversations with agents off the bat. It's something where everyone's always like, if you know somebody, that's always a good way to get the ball rolling, because it's so much easier. Otherwise, you have to go through all these hoops to get to them, and you don't even know if it's going to get to them. And especially as first-time directors, it's like, if you know someone who loves the project and also believes in your vision, that it's really helps get everyone else on board.
No suits per se. We're going to give us the chance to go make this, or thought that, it was a worthwhile maybe thing. So we knew that, and we're just like, let's go around every single corner. But I also think even at a higher budget, that becomes true as we're putting together our next film. It's like getting scrappy with who we know and what connections we have. It's really like going back to the same thing, funny enough.
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily become everybody's, not to jump the gun on the conversation, but it hasn't become everybody's calling. It's like maybe some more doors are open. But
now the budget's higher. How are you going to get the money for that budget? And also now you need an actor who maybe, I don't know. It's like so silly. Like there's always things where it's like an actor who, I don't know, has more like
value. Yeah, of course.
Has more followers. I don't know. Yeah. So interesting how that works.
The whole ecosystem is so interesting. And I think what's fantastic about Filmcraft, right, is that even a quote unquote bad movie is a minor miracle in terms of collaboration and applied creativity in a direction. And what's interesting about a wonderful quote unquote movie is that there are these elements that sometimes just simply cannot be fully planned for. Like even if you're fully wonderful at your craft, like there are, as you said, situations where casting just has to be right, or a location just must be right, or a scene just must be right. Like it's just incredible what has to line up to make something special. Kind of to that, I want to know, what was your guys' strategy for creating the visual style and mood of Edge of Everything?
Well, at the time, we were really inspired by filmmakers like Eliza Hittman, Andrea Arnold. We were really into like the grounded, like feels super real.
Still are.
But that was really inspiring for this film, and we wanted it to feel really real and really dropped in, like you're with the girls. And so we were kind of just, it was so funny, like our Ashley Munns, who did the costume design, she was like, do you want like normcore? She calls it normcore. And I was like, yeah, normcore is perfect. Because it basically like everything just wanted to feel like real, and nothing was too like flowery or stylistic in that sense, because it was supposed to feel like a real home, a real bedroom, and like a real school, all the things, what actually teenagers wear.
And then with our cinematographer, Scott, it's funny enough, I think some of the reaction almost in Q&As at festivals are oh, it feels almost documentary style. Did you just put the camera on the shoulder sometimes and rock it and create this, what a lot of, I think, is a very beautiful aesthetic? And we're like, no, it took months and months of extreme precision and prep to create that naturalistic feel. That was the vision all along. And it took so much prep to just create that on the camera side. And
Scott's like just so amazing at that. He's so good at making it feel that way.
That's too great. That's awesome. How did you two manage the post-production process? Like, how was the edit, your music selection? How did the story come to shape up in the edit bay?
Ben Shern, our editor, is literally the best person that we love Ben. And we again found he had edited a friend's film, and we loved his work. He kind of worked, especially, it was still like pandemic times, and it worked where he would do a chunk and then he would send it to us. We would do a full round of notes. He would come back, and then we would go in person and work from there. And maybe we would still continue to tear things up. And that really worked well for us, especially because we trust him off the bat. And it's really nice to have a new voice come in so that one can see where they take it, a fresh take, especially when you're so caught up in production. It was really nice for us to have a new storyteller, not just the storyteller, but somebody come in and give their fresh perspective. Really worked for us. And music-wise, a lot of it's Bay Area music.
Yeah.
And
all of it's like local artists. Well, a lot of it is. And then we had the artist, Mark E. Basie, on board.
He's our music director.
He was our music director, and he found a lot of the music for us, which was really helpful.
And connected us to artists.
And a lot of the music really is like what we listened to in high school. So it was like very visceral in that. And like, especially like some of the scenes where there was like heavy bass in the car, like driving down a windy road. Like so many people come up to us being like, I remember those days of being in the back of a car and there's like heavy bass and you're driving down a windy road with someone who's just like whipping down the road, and it's so dangerous and it's like amazing. We're all alive.
And to go back to your last, the other question of style, a decision from the beginning was that everything would be diegetic with sound. So all the music is source and comes from in the film. There's no score. It's all songs that we chose, and stylistically, we wanted everything to feel as naturalistic as possible. So a lot of moments do live in silence or just saw a song from the radio. And that was something that was really important for us from the writing process as well.
Fantastic. Pivoting back a little bit to production, I can't ever help myself, but can you share on how you all budgeted Edge of Everything, especially, with some of these constraints you mentioned kind of popping up, which makes sense. You guys like really were scrappy. No wasn't an answer. Like you went and you found solutions to problems creatively, and the output is this awesome film. But yeah, like, how did you budget this, and can you walk us through that process on the finance side, if you don't mind?
So it started initially, we were ready to make a film for $50,000.
I think it was the first $25,000.
We'll use real people. We'll get scrappy. And then, of course, it started to, we were really grateful to have these producers on board. Cast started coming on board. It started...
so like kind of snowball into like more of a budget. Still low, but definitely kept creeping up.
Yeah.
And then...
we were I think it was about being just incredibly diligent about where we put money and being able to pull in a lot of favors as well. Like, not gonna lie and act like it wasn't a lot of favors weren't pulled in. We got really lucky with some passionate people who came on board on the finance side and were really passionate about the story we wanted to tell, and kind of pulled together our financing from a lot of private equity directions. But it was scrappy, pulling favors, using friends' cars.
Everything was like just somebody's something. Like, like it felt like very much like, I feel like travel and lodging ended up being one of the higher costs just for bringing everybody out. Because we did bring out a good amount of people from LA and tried to use like as many people as we could from the Bay Area, but it, that ends up travel and like lodging always ends up being something that's pretty expensive. But yeah, having like so many favors, I think really just made it so this could happen in the way it did. And which is a huge reason why we chose Mill Valley.
Yeah.
home of course, the Mill Valley Film Fest, which is a great organization, great films for sure. I'm curious, both of you, what advice do you have for aspiring filmmakers on kind of managing a production from conception through to distribution? I mean, I think we've talked a bit about your style, how you wrote this thing, how you shot this thing. Talk to us about distribution, getting it seen. Would love to kind of know that process from your side.
Yeah, for sure. We have a great sales company on board, Visit Films, who has really helped us get this film out into the world. But, from the beginning, it's not like we had that set up also as filmmakers. Like we were, to be honest, coming into this. And I think that's where we can, maybe give good advice or be a path forward, is we did come into this with super limited connections, just wanting to make a film, and didn't have distribution set up or the sales company set up beforehand, but really did once we finished the film. And we didn't have a sales company on board for a while, was uncovering every stone, everybody we knew, cold emailing.
A lot of
people.
cold emailing.
Yeah.
And which is like something where it's sometimes you're like, I don't know if they're even going to respond. But shockingly, a lot of people do respond and are receptive to cold emails.
Yeah. Our sales company, and it's a hard process to sell an indie film right now. But luckily, we got some good success with festivals, and we're with Lightyear Entertainment now for domestic distribution. It was this amazing company who's getting it out into the world and is really giving it, I think, what it deserves, which we're so happy about.
And I would say this is like all to say, like, I feel like a huge thing for us is like if you create a really good community of other filmmakers at your level, or even like if you have any like sort of mentor kind of people, those people like are really helpful. Or if you went to neither of us went to film school, but we both went to I feel like Emerson College, so many people from Emerson. Emerson runs really deep. Like people really help each other at Emerson. And I feel like creating a really good community wherever you are of filmmakers makes it possible to do these things, because someone always knows somebody who has this or what. And that's how it really comes together.
They're the people who connect you. And and that's been so true for us.
That's so fantastic. Well, tell me, what's next for you two? This film is in the can. It's getting distributed. It's getting seen. People are loving it. You had mentioned another project. What's your trajectory?
We're doing this dramatic horror dark comedy next that we're
really different.
Excited about.
Really different.
It's so different.
Really different from Edge of Everything.
But it still has the heart that Edge of Everything has, and the character relationships that really drive really deep in the story. Yeah. And we're working to shoot in the fall, working with a great team so far on this project, and I think we're really excited to get back on set. Yeah. That's the itch since once you're...
It's about two monsters in a toxic relationship, so...
Yeah.
Well, Pablo and Sophia, thank you so much for joining me on production. It's so nice to meet you, and thank you for sharing a bit about your story. How can listeners learn more about your work and watch your films?
Yeah, so Edge of Everything is going to be in LA. It's going to be at the NoHo Laemmle starting May 17th. We have a screening in New York with The Future of Film is Female, I think May 21st at the Nighthawk Cinema. And also for more updates, and then we'll be coming to streaming and VOD in the summer. But for more updates, you can follow us on Instagram. Edge of Everything Film is a great way where we're posting constant updates, but we'll be out in the world soon, and so excited to share this film with audiences.
That's too awesome. Thanks so much, Pablo and Sophia. See you next time.
Cameron, thank you for having us.
Thanks.
On Production is brought to you by Wrapbook. With automated time card calculations, real-time production accounting, and payroll you can run with just a click, Wrapbook makes it easier than ever to manage your entire production from one login. To learn more about how Wrapbook is transforming payroll and production accounting, check out our website at wrapbook.com.